Close. We good.
Yeah, we'll go. So here we are in Helsinki, House of Culture, and we have Sven from the Dirkschneider, Udo's son, the drummer of the band. Yeah, you just arrived in Helsinki last night in Tallinn. How's the tour been so far?
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. I think it's show number 11 or something like that. So we just, getting into the groove. It's really awesome. We have lots of sold out shows, good venues, good crowds. Just came from Tallinn, had to get up very early to catch the ferry. But it's all going good. And we are very happy to be back in Helsinki.
Well, you just released the Balls to the Wall Reloaded album. Tell us about, you have lots of quests over there. How did you pick up all those guests like Dee Snider, Millie Petrosa, Danko Jones? How did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea, first of all, we had the idea of doing a tour for 40 years of Balls to the Wall. And then when we were on festivals and did some shows, some people came and asked, what do you do like for the 40th anniversary? And we said, yeah, we're going on tour. And there were so many singers that said that they would love to sing a song of that iconic record that then we slowly had the idea of, should we do it? Should we re-record it with guest singers? So that was when the idea was born. And then, I mean, lots of those people, my dad knows them for a million years. So like Dee Snider, Miller, Biff, I mean, Doro, they did so many things together that it was a pretty easy decision to call them and ask if they would be interested. And they loved the idea, and they were very, very happy that we called, and they liked the idea. So we made a plan on who could sing what, which was also kind of an easy decision. If Byford for London Leather Boys was obvious, Doro on Winter Dreams, her favorite song of that record as well. We could totally hear Miller sing Fight It Back with his typical creator voice. Dee Snider for Losers and Winners was pretty obvious. That's when we made the plan, and then we had to see on how can we schedule the whole thing, because it's not that easy. They're on tour, they have their own stuff that's going on, so that was quite a task. And we came with that idea pretty late, so the tour was set already. So it was like a little time frame that we had to get it done. So that was pretty tough in the end, because we had to schedule everyone, and Dee Snider was middle of movement. He moved to a completely new area, and he called me and said, I would love to do it, but I don't have a studio here. I don't know anyone. So we had to find something for him, and then he went in. He did it in 2 hours. We got the files, and we were blown away. That's pretty much how it all came together, and it was a lot of back and forth with the people, but it turned out great.
Well, it's always interesting when someone records an album like this with bunch of great musicians and guests. So were there any names who would love to join, but you have to tell them no, we have everyone is on board now?
No, it was actually the other way around. We had some names that we contacted, like Till Lindemann, and he got back to us and he said he's very honored. He would have loved to do it, but unfortunately he has a knee surgery, and then when he's recovered from that, he had to prepare for the next Lindemann tour, I guess. So we couldn't get him. We were in touch with Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm. Think we met at the Whiskey in West Hollywood. She was at a show, and we found out that she's a huge fan. I mean, she was growing crazy the whole show. So we stood in touch, and then when the idea was born, I could totally see and hear her on Turn Me On. Perfect song for her. And then she said, yes, I definitely want to do it. It's super cool, super awesome. I feel very honored. And then you know how it is. Then there's management involved, and they have scheduled their plans of releasing stuff. So when it came down to say, okay, when could you record, unfortunately the management said she can't do it because we have something released or to be released at the same time, so they didn't want to have it. So these are things that happen and are quite normal. So then we had to reach out to other people, and we found a very good alternative in Danko Jones for Turn Me On. I think it's perfect fit with the lyrics as well and the typical Danko Jones singing and type of phrasing that he does. We had Joachim Kahns. He wanted to do Guardian of the Night, but then he had some personal things going on, and that's why he didn't have the time, unfortunately. But all in all, it was we had so many names. I mean, you can call a lot of people that know Udo for a long time, and of course people ask why is, I don't know, Lordi not on the album, but it had also to do with putting their voices on a song and see and hear it in a picture, and I think we found the perfect fit for each song.
Well, that's a great and very good answer. Well, how it was for you? How did you approach the songs as a drummer? Because, like you said, it's recorded 40 years ago, and drummer at the time had his style. So, did you had a chance to do your own things over there? Because I've heard the album a couple of times, and I've been trying to listen it as is there something new, like tricks
Of course.
from drummer or guitar players or stuff like that?
Actually, the funny fact is that I recorded the drums with Stefan Kaufmann, who is the original drummer from Accept. And he's doing my drums since, I think, the Game Over album. That's when we started working together. And he's recording Udo for over 40 something years. So he's still in the background, and he was a very important role in that album as well, because he's the brain who remembers all the details. He knows everything. Doesn't matter which instrument it is. And for me personally, as a drummer, it was very... I mean, I play most of the songs since 10 years already. I actually just had my anniversary with the band on the 6th of March. That's when I was in the band for 10 years. So I play lots of these songs already live for a couple of years. But if you go into the studio, it's a different story, especially if you have the original sitting in front of you. But the cool thing is about Stefan, I mean, he will tell you if he doesn't like something and if he thinks it's not cool. And he's also one of those guys who would say, if you don't play it right, it doesn't sound right, and that's why that's my approach in general with playing stuff that I hadn't written myself. Stick to the original as close as possible, because otherwise the songs will definitely lose for a drummer, their drive. Accept has a very, very special groove that is not too easy to play. I mean, the stuff might not sound complicated, but to get it into the right groove and right shape is definitely a thing. And yeah, I was very lucky that I learned from Stefan. I mean, he showed me a lot, and he showed me these little tricks that some people might not know about the music and how he played it back in the day. And of course I try to stick to the original as much as possible, but he also let me the freedom of say, hey, if you play it live like this since 10 years, do it, so there might be a crash cymbal that is not on the original or a different tom fill that I played, and that was very cool about it. I mean, I just played my style on how I would like to play these songs, and sometimes he would say it's really cool, I like it, or he would say no, let's try to do it a different way, and we played around a little bit with it, and I think we came to a very good solution for both of us. It's my attitude and my kind of style of drumming, but I mean, it's sort of in my DNA. I mean, I'm playing this stuff for 10 years, so especially with Peter now on bass, it's a very strong rhythm section, I think, and it was a lot of fun to record these songs.
So we can say that you've been in good hands when you were recording this album.
Absolutely, yeah.
So what did Peter bring into the album when he came back to the band? Did he had anything to do with how to play those songs, and or how did he remember all those songs?
I mean, I think for both, for Peter and my dad, it was a big challenge in the beginning. They always say it's the holy cow of Accept, and if you go back and revisit an album that you have recorded when you were, what were they, 20 something? They were really young, and they were sort of innocent, naive. They just wrote music and they didn't know if it will be successful or not. They had a good feeling about it, but they didn't know, and in the end it brought their worldwide success. And Peter had the same thing. He sat down and he said, okay, should I try and replicate or try to play what I played back in the day, or should I just stick to the live versions that I'm used to play since 40 years? And he decided for the live versions as well. I mean, it's little details that might not be even hearable, but it is a different vibe, and yeah, we are so used to it to play it on stage that is a little difference for us, I believe. But in general, I think they were also kind of nervous to go back into the studio. My dad as well, yeah, he didn't know if he could hit the high notes and stuff like that. But in the end, it turned out great. I think he sounds fantastic on that album, and Peter's bass too, and it's just a modern touch that this recording has now, but we stick to the original of the songs. I mean, we didn't change any arrangements. I think the only thing that we changed is that there's a guitar solo for Losing More Than You've Ever Had now, but that's about it. The rest is exactly like the original, except for these little touches that we put on. But I think that's totally legit to do it, and yeah, it gives the songs a little bit of modern drive with old-fashioned sound. I mean, in high quality recording that we have nowadays, it's of course natural that it sounds different, but also there, I mean, we had some days where we spent on the drums tuning it to see where we can go with it, you know, and see if we can get near the original, and I think it's just, yeah, very modern recording technology with the old vibes.
Well, one thing I was wondering before we came in here is that have you heard any feedback from the Accept camp from this re-recording? Have Wolf been commenting anything about it?
No, not that we know. I mean, I think I don't need to mention this, but I mean, there's no communication between anyone, not between Udo and him, and not between Peter and him, for a reason. So, no, not that we know. I mean, we can think about what he thinks, but no, there hadn't been a comment. No.
Well, then it's probably at some point you will hear it if they comment something or not.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if somebody asks, probably he would say that he doesn't comment it. That's what I see. But if there would be a comment, we could definitely read it and see it somewhere. But so far there is not anything, and he has his own plans. So, you know, just both bands do what they want to do.
Yeah. Well, I've been thinking about your situation because you're in a band with your dad. Mm-hmm. So you're professional musicians and you do what you do and you have shows to do and stuff like that. But does he ever get into your nerves? Is it difficult to be in a band with your dad?
No, to be honest, not at all. I mean, when we've started this in 2015, I was thinking about it for like 2 weeks if I want to do it or not. But that was also because for me it was a very important decision for my life on what I will do for the next how many years. And at the same time, I was asked to play with Saxon in 2015 to do some rescheduled shows because Nigel was sick. So I had like 50 plus songs to learn at the same time because the shows with Saxon were in February and the UDO tour started in March. So I didn't do anything except for playing drums at that time, and then I had to think about it because it wasn't an easy decision, and I'm very happy that I said yes, because with my dad, it's of course he's my dad and we have family, and of course there's stuff that we have to discuss aside from the business, but we catch up on a lot of time that we didn't have back in the day, to be honest, you know, because he was always on tour, and so over the years we became friends on tour, exploring the world together. And how cool is that you have the chance to do that with your dad, and plus we're doing music, we play music together, we write music together, and taking care about the business. So it developed into something really, really cool with what both of us enjoy. And of course sometimes we scream at each other if we have, you know, different opinions about stuff, and it's very normal, you know. But in general, I must say that it's very easy, first of all, to work with him because he's very open-minded, which I think is why he is where he is right now. Also developed with his music over the years. also with UDO, of course, especially on the last album, and that makes it very easy for us younger people. I mean, we have D. Damas and Andrei Smirnov in the band as well. We are sort of the same age. Andrei is a little bit older than D and I, but we come up with different ideas, and let's say the older people could say, no, I won't do this, because I've always done it this way and blah, blah. But they're complete opposite of that, and that makes it so interesting to work with them. And yeah, being open-minded is, I think, a very, very important part when you want to stay up to date with your music and also with your character and your charisma. And no, we enjoy it. I enjoy it to be on the road with him, and he's a very funny character as well, and we have a good time.
And sounds like you learn from each other all the time. Like you said, that you have different generations of age in the band. Yeah.
That's the great advantage of it.
Yeah. Okay, last question. We have time is running up, and we have to get ready to show. Yeah. What's your favorite song from the Balls to the Wall album?
Probably I would say Losers and Winners. I mean, it's so much fun to play, first of all. I really love the very strong vocals of D. Snyder. I think it's one of his best vocal performances. Knowing that he did it in 2 hours, I was really blown away. And every night when we play this song, it's very powerful. It goes into the right direction. Great lyrics. You can see that in the audience as well. Everyone is singing that chorus because it means so much to a lot of people. It's a great song, fun to play.
Thank you, Sven, for the interview. Have a great show, have a great tour, and we'll see you back in Finland, in April when you're doing the Z-Rock.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're coming to Z-Rock in Oulu, and today Helsinki, tomorrow Tampere, and thank you very much for having me. Hey, this is Sven Dirkschneider of Dirkschneider, and you're watching Southwest Wreck Metal.
They're losers and winners, just like you and me, losers and winners.